Oh, you couldn't hear me. No wonder you didn't answer my question. I said greetings from Seattle, and I said, guess what it's doing here today? Is the audio on now? Can you hear me now? Janice, can you hear me now? Anybody? Lots of comments. No audio still? You can hear me. Okay. All right. All right. Good, 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 good. So thank you. There's 11 of you on. And I only sent out this link to the people that were on our mailing list who have opened the RV travel newsletter many times. There's a lot of people that get it every issue and don't respond. So we sent it to those people and we asked them to help fund us because I don't want to rely on advertising because it's getting harder and harder. And it's never been my thing anyway. Those people that are in journalism are usually either they're on the editorial side or the advertising side, and you don't find people that are, kind of good at each. That's why in the old days, a lot of daily newspaper reporters would buy little weeklies out in the country and run them often as mom and pops, and they wouldn't make it because they just couldn't deal with the advertising. All they wanted to do is write. Jonathan from Oxnard, Mark can hear me. Jonathan can hear me. Sharon can hear me. Sharon is from Nevada. Sharon, where in Nevada? I know Nevada pretty darn good. I used to hang out there. Used to do road trips out to the ghost towns and all those wonderful little towns in Nevada. And I'll bet you people watching don't know that Nevada is the most mountainous state in the United States, has more mountain ranges. And if you go to Great Basin National Park, which is not very well known, you will, Park Road will take you up to Mount Wheeler, which I think is 14th. Maybe it's in the 12,000 range, but anyway, and there's a campground right at the top, a beautiful campground in the forest. You start off down in the desert and go through several climate zones until you get up there. And I had a little moped once. Was it a moped or moped. And there's no traffic there. It's in the middle of nowhere. And rode it all the way to the top. I don't remember if I could pedal that particular bike. I think it was called a Yamahopper. I think it was a little teeny 50cc motorcycle. But I remember riding it from the campground at the bottom and then going up to the top. But I better keep up on these. Jonathan, Sharon, Gypsy, trucker. Are you a trucker? Oh, you gotta don't tell us what you think of RVers taking up your spots in rest areas at night. Mark is from the natural state. What is the natural state? Tell me, I don't know that one. Good trivia there. So fire away. You got any questions for me? And if you want to come on and participate in our studio, let me know. I'll send you an invitation. If you got something to say, you want to tell a story about something that's related to RV travel, or you just want to say hi. If I see you pop into my studio after I give you the link, then come on and say your thing and be famous. 13 people. Hey, Arkansas. Oh, the natural state is Arkansas. Why does it go by the natural state? Arkansas. What's more natural about Arkansas than other places? Anybody else got any more? Here's Jonathan. You came to the wrong place to ask about technical stuff. Got a Winnebago Indian. Wow, that's an oldie. You should go on to our normally Wednesday night programs, 4:00 Pacific, and Dustin Simpson and Dave Solberg. That's the questions they answer every time. Now tomorrow, Dave is down at the Tampa show, so he's going to be doing it live from there. Dustin owns California RV Specialist, which is in Lodi, California, which is famous for its Zinfandel wine if you go there. So, and Sharon, you've got a technical question too. Again, I'm the lifestyle guy. Um, you're asking a question. We do have a Facebook page called Towing Behind Your RV. Go in and search the Facebook groups and ask that question there, and you'll get plenty of answers. Um, Deanna, you enjoyed camping the Pacific Northwest this summer. Anywhere anybody else camp there? Oh, I mean, you talk about beautiful camping. You're not going to. I've camped all over the country, especially the West, for what 40 years, and the Northwest are some of the most beautiful campgrounds. It does get crowded up here in the summer now. It used to be able to actually go into a state park in the summer and just pull in, but no, it's reservations now. But boondocking um, um, and lots of national forest campgrounds that don't fill up, and whether it's down by Rainier, Mount Baker, North Cascades, Highway 20 across the North Cascades is a stunning road to take if you ever get a chance. It rivals being in the Tetons and Rocky Mountain National Park. Just stunning, and pretty campgrounds I know on the that I've stayed on the west slope. Um, on the east slope, you go over the little Methow Valley and the town of Winthrop, which is a little wild west western town, which is really fun. And there's camping around there, and some private and public campgrounds. So yeah, Deanna, national forests were great. Yeah, that's when I was younger and I was just traveling up here as a freelance journalist. I would often stay out at those campgrounds for a week. You know, they were free back then. Um, so I'm here to answer your questions about. Sharon's going to be in the Midwest. You know, every place has got its beauty. I mean, I've camped out in. Um, let me get rid of this banner running across the bottom here. It's getting a little obnoxious. Um, I've in the Midwest, you camp. You know, when you're not used to camping by a cornfield, it's pretty fun. I mean, I guess if you lived among the cornfields, it wouldn't be a big deal to you. But uh, the fireflies, we don't have fireflies in the West, and so in the East and the South and the Midwest. Yeah, Sharon, libraries in Nevada are offering state park passes. We've written about that. I'm not sure exactly how you do it. I guess you call your local library and they'll tell you, but they're like a loaner pass, right? And they can have so many that they can loan out. But yeah, Nevada's got all kinds of public lands. I think it's probably 80% owned by the government. The lands in the West are Arizona, Nevada, Idaho, Montana. They're often more land is owned by the government than by private parties. Um, um, so I came on this morning to because we sent out that letter today, suggesting to our people that had not supported us with any kind of a voluntary subscription to please consider it. So I wanted to come on here if anybody had any questions of why we were asking for that. I don't want to we never want to come across as begging, but it's kind of we've had several meetings recently and addressing this epidemic of artificial intelligence writing. Um, and I went in yesterday and I typed in on Google, I typed best national parks for camping in the fall. And you might want to try that yourself. And it came up with 60 stories on the front page of Google, 60. They were all essentially the same. One was 9 best national park campgrounds, one was 13 best, one was 20 best. They all were just little couple paragraph on each park. Um, and but they were all so generic and useless. It was all about writing a good headline that would appear high on Google. But of course, what's happening is that everybody's writing these stories entirely with artificial intelligence or in part. And these algorithms that they use, which anybody can use, college students are using them to write term papers, which is just a huge problem on college campuses. Um, they're designed to please Google, and we don't write for SEO. We our readers mostly come from our email newsletter. So if we can get somebody on our list and give them the information they're looking for, they'll generally stay with us. And that's the way we do it. We don't. I mean, yes, we mess up sometimes. I mean, you exaggerate, not exaggerate, but kind of print a headline in a way that we know will be read. It will, I mean, you only have it online as opposed to a newspaper. People read a newspaper and they come across stories just as they're going through it. But online, you've got to kind of get them with the headline. And the easiest way to do it is to be sensational. And that's why there's so much clickbait out there. And I mean, it's been going on, local TV stations. So you're watching at 9 o'clock and they say, um, half of such and such a town burns down, film at 11. And, uh, and then you get there and you find out that some little business went up, burned. It's been going on forever and ever in journalism since the very beginning. But I don't know if you want to talk about that or what you want to talk about. So you're all here. What can I tell you about? I've been RVing for 40 years. I started in my 30s and early 30s, and I've seen. I think I wrote an essay last week or week before about the change, and um, so I figured maybe somebody would be curious about. I mean, how long have you? Just leave a comment. How long have you been RVing? How many years? Are you nine people on now? So I guess they want to talk about technical things. These are our cups. We give these away as prizes on our Wednesday evening webcast with Dave and well, everybody stop talking. I want to talk about what you want to hear about, except and I can talk a lot about the lifestyle if you got questions. I figure I'm going to just stay here for those people that got that message this morning and want to know if we're just trying to get money out of them or if there's a reason for it. And there is a reason for it. It's either that or advertising. And advertising, as I said, does come with strings. Advertisers, they want to. I mean, a lot of them are happy to put their messages up and that's it. But a lot of the other ones are very demanding. And they want you to write stories about them and not just unbiased stories. They want you to say nice things about them. And if you don't, there goes $1,000 a month or whatever, more or less. Janice, you've been camping 60 years. Wow. Glamping in a fifth wheel. Yeah, it is glamping, isn't it? I can't say that's the fifth wheel traders. The show in down in Florida that just started today, the Florida RV show. And if you're going, be sure to find our Dave Solberg and say hi to him. He'll make him feel good to know he's a celebrity. They're introducing Keystone is introducing a Montana fifth wheel that's got an office up front, and that's for all those people that are running businesses from their RVs. I know that I've camped next to a lot of them. I mean, one guy, I remember, he was managing a call center for a few different companies, and another guy was doing IT. And of course, there's the other people that are just, taking their families out and they're traveling nurses, they're work on windmills, they're pipeline workers. Um, but they don't necessarily need an office. But anyway, we're going to have a story on that Winnebago here as soon as the next few days, I guess, because for those people that are, I mean, I've worked for my RV for my, I mean, my dinette has been my office for a total of probably 5, 6 years in the last since I started, cumulative, if not more. It's always worked with a laptop, but some people they want to have a more sophisticated. Well, there's 13 people. Here we go. Sure to rain. Chuck, I've been camping for 30 years. Not a fifth wheel. That's sure to rain. Oh, well, I should be putting these things up on the. I forget that not some of you are on Facebook. Some of you are on YouTube, so you can't see the ones that are posted on the other platform. There's Janice's. My parents, I started when I've got pictures. We had what was that? That brand that Sears had when eons and eons ago. I just can't remember it now. But anyway, my parents started off with a pop-up. It was a tent trailer. It was so ugly. And I remember them struggling getting that. And I was happy as a kid that I didn't have to get involved. It was, I mean, compared to today, it was the ugliest thing. It must have been dark inside, and it was a dark greenish canvas. Oh, Carl, you've got an Ultra van. Oh, those are the ones that look like a marshmallow. They have the Corvair engine, don't they? Those were, I did a story on those years and years ago. I ran into, I've seen a few of them out there. Oh, they don't go very fast, but they're very cute. So are you, do you go out and your club, member of a club and get together? You must. They're, here, Sharon, she said she's just beginning. Oh dear. Be careful, Sharon. Just learn all you can. I suppose you've learned a lot from RV travel. We're starting up our kind of a static site that used to be a big site for us called newervier.com. And that's just going to be for new RVers. And if you're on Amazon, whoops, this is my book. Whoa, it's so hard to get the ABCs of RVing. And it's all the questions that beginners ask. And there it is. It's on Amazon, ABCs of RVing, all the basic stuff. And I got that one, didn't I? Tell me about your Ultra van, Carl. So there's Carl. They're going to go to the Wisconsin Dells in June. Wisconsin Dells, that's quite a place. All the tourists up there. We stayed in a RV park right there. It's something like had some weird sign, something we're adults for adults only or something, but it wasn't like that. It was more than that. But anyway, it was really close, really nice. We must have stayed there a month, and but I didn't realize how popular an area that is with the kind of I guess there's theme parks there. I don't know. I didn't go to those, but all the restaurants and theme stuff, movie theaters, just tons of stuff for water parks. Oh yeah, that's where they had I wrote the scathing. Was so mad at they had a amusement park there called the D-Day amusement park. You went there and you climbed ropes and everything. It's all based on D-Day, where so many people died. And I thought, oh my God, you don't make light of what happened there. It just bugged me crazy. Let's see. Who else did I miss? I got all kinds of people way back here that I didn't put up. There was Deanna in the Pacific Northwest. Anybody got a favorite place in the Northwest where they stay? Um, the Olympic Peninsula and the Kitsap Peninsula are gorgeous out on the coast. You can't really. There are some campgrounds right on the coast, down the peninsula way. A nice little private campground at the marina at Port Townsend. You can walk right into town. Um, and then there's some public campgrounds around there too. But yeah, beautiful place. Oh, here's Carl. Yeah, there's his ultra van. They do look like a long marshmallow. Are they all painted white, Carl? I mean, everyone I've seen has been white, which really Long Beach, Cape Disappointment. Yeah, Long Beach is that's on Long Beach. You can drive on the beach. Right in town there. There's a road right down to the beach, and you can drive for miles on the beach. It's a state. I think it's actually a state highway. And then the Marsh's Free Museum there. That's where they have this weird creature that's half alligator, half man, supposedly in the they have these oddities in there, and the sister publication to the National Enquirer years ago ran a picture of Jake, and they said that scientists had found him in a park I guess it was down around the Everglades, and it was a double spread, and the picture was Jake. And if you go there, you get a Jake the Alligator Man bumper sticker. And if you ever see one of those, that's where it came from. But it's a fun museum, retail store museum, lots of tacky tourist stuff. And right across the street is the world's largest frying pan. So you can take a picture of that and show all your friends, and they'll be impressed. Okay, what else you got there? What else you want to tell? Do you want to tell us a story? You want to come on and join me, and we'll talk about something? If you do, just let me know here on a post, and I'll look in my email, and I'll send you an invitation. Sharon, you're hoping to boondock mostly if you can. Well, are you in the West? I can't remember. Oh, you're in Nevada, I think, right? Well, boondocking, of course, is so popular now, and there's so many, the public lands are in the West. It's a lot harder in the East. I mean, the kind of boondocking you can do out here in the West, especially down the desert, it just goes on and on and on. Of course, everybody's going down to Quartzsite right about now because the big annual show is going on there, which is, I would say, more circus than show, RV show. They have one RV dealer, but this huge tent that's about the length of at least a football field. I forget, I had the stats at once, but hundreds of vendors. Many of them are RVers, RV related, but then a lot of them are just, back adjustments and jewelry and whatever. But it is just staying out of the public lands and walking into the giant flea markets and rockhound exhibits is just plain fun. And I was talking to Russ Damaris yesterday, who's one of our writers. Matter of fact, Russ has been writing for us for 20 years, and he lives in Quartzsite. And I was asking him about the Quartzsite Yacht Club, which is it's a bar, but the name is a joke. Obviously, there's not too many yachts within anywhere near Quartzsite. But he said the Quartzsite Yacht Clubs sells memberships in the club, and you get a membership card. And he says it's very popular because he said yacht clubs around the uh, the country, if you flash that card, they think they'll give you a deal because you're a fellow yacht club um, member. And I never thought of that. He's going to write a story about it. I thought that was so funny. It's just, it's crazy. Carl, how do you focus on work while you're camping? I do a blog for my kids when we're traveling and find it hard to cut time out to do it. Well, you know what, Carl, that's a good question. You really have to get into your right brain, which is the part of the brain that's creative. We have two parts of our brain. The left brain is very matter of fact, and the right brain is creative. And you're in the right brain when time passes and you go, wow, 2 hours went by and it feels like 10 minutes. That you're in the right brain. Painters, writers. So for me, if I can't get into my right brain, which is where I write, and I have to operate out of my left brain, which means I'm interrupted all the time, I write like an eighth grader. It's hard for me to write. So you do have to find time. Maybe it's getting up earlier in the morning. When Emily, who's now our editor, when she was little, we took her out when she was, I guess, 3 months old. And I really couldn't. It was very hard for me to write. And I had to write it. That was how I supported myself. But I would say just squeeze time. There's all kinds of stories. And through the years when I was getting started as a freelancer, I wrote for a lot of magazines, and I read a lot of magazines for writers, with all kinds of tips. You do a blog for your kids when we're traveling. Yeah, just try to find some time. That's all you can do. And if you can buy some time uninterrupted, and it makes it a little easier, but you can't just, it's not always that easy to just, it's taken me years to train my brain how to get into the right brain part of it, which is where I just, ideas pop in all day long. Daniel says, how about the price of RVs in general? Well, I know that we're trying to sell our RV, and we put it for sale about, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months ago. And when everything was going top dollar, and we're just continuing to lower the price. These prices of new RVs are just nuts, just crazy. The little Class B Sprinters are now over $200,000. Maybe there's some less, but I've always said buy a good used RV, because there's no guarantee. You with a car, you think I'm going to buy a car, and it'll be, I'll just take it out next week and go on a trip. Well, you can't do that with a new RV. It's going to have stuff wrong. They, with rare exception, and getting in for service is a real challenge. We've written about this for the last 2-3 years, and matter of fact, it's I really can't get started on that. But I would look at used RVs. You're going to do right now. I would start looking around. I think that other people got to be having the same problem we're having. We want to downsize. We only have a 32-foot motorhome, but we want to get something smaller. Will the price of campgrounds? I don't know. All these corporations, these investment companies are buying up campgrounds, and I just don't see the price going down. They're talking about another big year of sales, or they're talking about a big year of people camping. It won't be much different than last year. And I'll be honest, I'm discouraged by going out and having to make reservations 3 months, 6 months, a year in advance. I like to be spontaneous. I like to get up in the morning, and if I feel like turning left out of the campground, I like to turn left. And but then I've always been out there searching for stories and moving around, stopping to write, then going again. Really just kind of road trip kind of stuff. If you're a planner, and a lot of people are, then you can plan where to stay, and And of course, weekly rates, monthly rates are cheaper. Um, but it is far more expensive than it used to be. But then, hey, just in the last year, everything's more expensive than it used to be. Um, the quality of build, it's funny. It's so funny. I was sitting around with a bunch of us were sitting around at the Hershey show years ago, maybe 15 years ago, and people that were well-known writers in the industry. We were all out at a pizza place or something and having a beer, and we started talking. And Gary Bunzer was there, who went by the RV doctor, was what he called himself, and he was kind of the national authority on RV repair and maintenance. And then there was Chris Doherty, who's until recently was the technical editor of Motorhome and Trailer Life magazines, and there were others there too. And we were talking about the crummy quality of RVs, and Gary, who'd been in the industry forever, he said, this is nothing new. It's been going on. But will the quality get better? I think it's really the thing is that, and I'll try to be short about this, is that there are those that are built well, but if you go through a factory, you're going to see an awful lot of RVs being built with wood frames, and they're stapled, they're glued, and keep in mind, these are going down the road, bumpy roads. And could you ever put a house through that? You look at your house and how it's built and how sturdy it's built. Well, imagine you're putting this stick and tin RV on the road and bouncing around, and then if you don't build it to withstand that kind of thing, the manufacturers build RVs to be sold, and there is no RV organization. There is nothing that represents RVers. Um, there's the industry association, the dealer association. Their interests are, their loyalties are to their clients. There is nothing out there that is representing you and me. And I think we try to do a little bit of that as best we can. I mean, we're not Consumers Reports. We don't have the resources, but I don't see that. I think it's going to be up to individuals to demand better built. Don't buy the ones, and have them inspected not by the dealer, but by an independent person who knows what they're doing. And the thing that you don't see when you buy an RV is you don't see what's between the walls, what's under the floors, what's in the ceilings. Most RVs will not even give you a diagram of their wiring. They don't have it. Every RV is different than the other. Sometimes the color of the wiring is different. Imagine bringing that into a repair shop with some guy who is making $16 an hour or less, and he's supposed to go in and fix your electrical problems. It's real. I don't mean to be a downer, but it's just the quality just isn't there in a lot of them, and even the really, really, really expensive ones. It's going to be better, but then I get letters all the time from people that have very expensive RVs that have worse problems than the ones that bought the little $20,000 trailers, where they got talked into financing for 20 years, which is just almost, in my opinion, it's like loan sharking. That's just absolutely incredible. Those trailers are going to be junk in 10 or 15 years, and they're going to still have payments on them. And if they try to sell them, they're going to have to come up with money to cover the balance on the loan. So no, qualities, it's the buyers need to be better educated. They can't just go in and say, oh, I like this layout. I mean, how do they know? Have they heard the water pump go? What kind of foam is in the dinette? The RV makers put a foam in there that feels really good when you buy it. If they put a better foam in there, which would cost them more money, it might feel kind of hard, but that might settle in and last longer. But to get the one that feels real good, and then 2 months later, it's worn down. Gary Bunzer once told me a story about how sometimes the heater vent in one, like the front of the RV and the back are, one's blowing a lot of hot air, the other one's blowing a little. And he said what happens is when they start putting in the ducting underneath the floor, some on the cheaper ones, it's cheaper just to scrunch up a bunch of ducting and not cut it so there's a direct line to the, say, the front. They'll just wind it all around, and so by the time because it's cheaper for them to just use a little extra material than it is to spend the time on the labor, something like that. And so by the time it winds it around, it's not blowing much air at the end. That's the kind of stuff, the RVs have to have a certain number of plugs on each wall based on the length of the RV. If it's 30 feet, they got to have more plugs than if it's 22 feet. But there's nothing in the code that says where the those plugs might be. I've seen it where there's none in the bedroom. So you got a CPAP machine, or you got an electric blanket, or you got anything that wants to be plugged in, a clock, something. There's no plug. But out in the kitchen, there'll be 3 plugs in a row because the manufacturer can save money on wiring. And people don't see that. They assume that these are built like cars or homes. And Dave Solberg writes a lot about this. And he's got a column almost every day in RV Travel. And I urge you to read his stuff. Carl, your Ultra van rehabbed it, put on 50,000 miles in the last 10 years and planning multi-state trip. Well, if you, whatever the RV is, in most cases, if you are handy, you can do most of the work. And it's all about upkeep. And it may have problems, but if you can fix those problems, it's the people that buy these that have no mechanical knowledge at all that they're in trouble. They've got, Dustin, who is part of our show on Wednesdays, he owns a repair and retail facility in Lodi, California, south of Sacramento. And the last I heard, he was booking his service appointments about 2 months out. And that's pretty good. And then once you get into a lot of repair facilities, dealers say, just because you get in 2 months doesn't mean they're going to get right on it and it's going to be right back to you. They may not be able to get the parts. So it really helps to be handy and to keep ahead of things. I mean, it's critical. I think there's going to be a glut of RVs on the market coming next couple of years. All those people that bought them because it was the only way to travel. And now they've decided it's not for them. I mean, I already see the letters that I get and the stuff on the forums. And okay, there's 8 people on here, big crowd. I'll put up a little banner here, a little reminder that the reason I thought that people might want to talk to me is that, where am I supposed to be here? Comments. I'm running all these, doing all this stuff I'm not used to doing. So I'm kind of a newbie at this. Okay, come on. Somebody tell me a story. Daniel says he's been cargo trailer conversion to get something with some quality. Hey, I think those are probably better built because you're watching it being built, or you've spec'd it out, or there's smaller companies. The big companies they're the ones that are just shooting these, cranking things out like like Ford cranked out Model Ts. So I think that there's a lot of people that are not a lot, but a significant amount of people that are buying cargo trailers, and some of them, you can see them on YouTube videos, are just beautiful. And van conversion, same thing. The whole van life thing is really big right now. It's mostly a younger crowd, 20s, 30s. maybe 40s. Our crowd at RV Travel is mostly an older 55 plus. Um, but I think that's a great idea. Let's see where I am here. Okay, anybody else? Questions? Anything you want to ask? A guy's been RVing for a long, long, long time. Any tips? Here's a tip. In a campground, park on the inside of a turn. You know, they're all loops. Campgrounds are all loops. That was kind of the way campgrounds were started to be designed way back when, decades and decades ago, and it's kind of stayed that way. You go out and then there's a loop. It comes back to the main road. Then you go down, there's another loop. I always say park on the inside of the end of the loop because the headlights are going to go, of the people coming in at night, are going to go right to the guy on the outside. How's that for a tip? Who's got another tip? Okay, I'm getting ready here. All right, come on. Somebody say something we can talk about. We can talk about artificial intelligence. I'm going to have a program here where in a few weeks we're going to actually write a story. I'll write it with you. And we're just going to, you can give me a story headline and I'm going to put it into artificial intelligence and let's see what it comes up with. You will be amazed at how creative they are. Sometimes very accurate and sometimes totally wrong. This one yesterday, I don't know if I can find it. Oh my goodness, it was about full timing, and they were talking about the expenses of full timing, and it said one of the things that you'll have to deal with is entertainment, and it says you'll need money for concert tickets and movies, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know very many people out there in the RV park that are going to concerts, and if they are, it's the local, you know, theater company, and you do that. I mean, I've probably done it 3 times in all the years I've been out there. And they also said that laundry, you should figure about 40 cents a load. But if you want to dry it, then you should figure $20 a load. That's what it said. 40 cents to do a lot in the laundromat and 40 cents a load, but $20 to dry it. And you know, the people that write this, that's like the one that I talk about all the time. One of the first ones I came across was about it was about smells in your sink. If you have smells in your sink, and it did at one point in there it says, while most RVs do not have garbage disposals. That's how the sentence started, and I thought to myself, while most RVs do not have garbage disposals, how about all RVs don't have garbage disposals? I've never seen an RV with a garbage. Can you imagine having all that chopped up food down in your gray tank? Well, obviously, whoever wrote that story had never been in an RV. And the content creators are just cranking this stuff out. And then now you got this artificial intelligence. There is just bad information out there. And that's kind of why that's kind of like why we are spending some time educating our readers about that, so they at least know when they go to a website that don't believe everything you see. Now, our readers mostly are people that have been around. They recognize that as, but they might not put 2 and 2 together and say, understand how that most RVs do not have garbage disposals came to be. You know, my story that I pointed out a couple times in the last couple of weeks that I wrote about fishing in Death Valley. Well, you can't fish in Death Valley. There's no lakes. There's no, and it said, and I ran that article on RV Travel and I critiqued it, and it said, you know, can you fish in Death Valley? Well, it said, yes, there's a pond by the general store. You can well stocked with trout. trout are a cold water fish. Can they live in a place where the ground temperature gets to be 140 degrees or more in the summer? And then it said, if you want to, or you can go see the native pupfish. Well, there is a pupfish there. It's about an inch and a half long. It lives in primarily one place right outside the park. It's protected. It's been endangered since the mid 1960s. And so this thing said, well, you could go out and observe the native pupfish and maybe try your luck. Well, you try your luck, you're going to be in prison because it's a felony. But this is what artificial intelligence said. It was all wrong in this case. And if you were writing that and you'd never been to Death Valley, that may have all made sense to you. It wasn't that it was bad writing, but that's what they do. Carl, is Harvest Host being overwhelmed with new members because of the glut of new RVers? I don't think so. They keep expanding. It's a good deal. We've stayed at them, but you can only stay one night. We stayed in some beautiful farms, but and it's free, but it's not really free because if there's a little country store there, and they often have, or if it's a winery, you're going to buy a bottle of their wine. But no, I don't think so. I get there every week. I get a list of their new locations, and they just keep adding them. So, but it's a great deal. Harvest Hosts. If you're not a member, it's well worth it if you're out a lot, and you can stop at a Walmart parking lot, or you can find a Harvest Host and go stay out in some place that's pretty and generally quiet. Yeah, it's true. I mean, people do go to concerts. It's like the people that tailgate. It's a certain kind of people, um, and and that's great. And there are people that use RVs for their kids are in motocross races or in high school sports, and they go to follow their kids, and they stand. And that's a certain kind of use of an RV, but our readers tend to be people that live and breathe RVing. That's their main hobby. They don't have an RV so they can go rock climbing or whatever. It's really soft adventure. And concert going, of course, yes, but I think only like 2% of our crowd has ever been to a NASCAR race, but in our surveys, and yet you look at a NASCAR race, it's a sea of RVs. It's just a different crowd. So, but oh my God, they're great for concerts. They're great for, they must be great for NASCAR. You get in the infield and you can get up on your roof and look out. And I mean, RVs, people use them for all kinds of things. But like I said, we cater to a little older crowd, and by and large, they kind of want to go out, and some of them do boondock. But the majority of our readers are pretty, they like to go to an RV park, hang out. They tow a car or have a pickup that they tow their fifth wheel with, their trailer, and they go out and they sightsee. And that's kind of go out for dinner. I mean, I love going out for dinner in the little towns where we go. And, I admit I'm not out climbing mountains or anything. I'm I just like to go out and explore the territory and the museums and take pictures. And yeah, let's see what we got here. We're caught up on comments. Any of you got any reaction to that email you got this morning? Because I thought that's why I would come on here, was just to see if anybody thought we were, because we came right out and said, please consider supporting us. And I thought, when we first did this, asked for money, it was, probably 7 or 8 years ago now. And I felt like I thought about it for a year. I didn't want to come across as begging. Of course, it's a much more popular way to fund a blog, website, YouTube channel, whatever. Everybody's asking for support. And hey, if you ask people for support, a lot of people will go ahead and if they like you, they love you, they will be happy to help. So I have got over my hesitation to ask, because I feel we're worth it. I feel we work our behinds off. Um, I feel like we've taken the hard road um, by not just publishing. I could go in all day long and publish stuff with artificial intelligence, and just go through every article and pull out the stuff that was wrong, and add a couple little things myself. And I could write an article in 10 minutes that used to take me an hour or an hour and a half. And um, and that's what's going on. I mean, I don't think writing with artificial intelligence, a real simple thing like how to dump your black tank. I mean, but of course, people get that wrong. Um, but just writing that is a story like that, artificial intelligence will probably do a pretty good job. Basically, what these artificial intelligence companies do is they hang on, let me get rid of that banner. They have read 10-15% of the web, and they know everything. And they have, so when you ask it to write a survey, a question, it has thousands and thousands of words and phrases and keywords and whatever in there that it is. So it's kind of like you going into Google and doing a search on something and then taking a little bit of information from here and there. When I was a kid or in college, we would, put a little something, go to the library and put something on a 3x5 card, and then we get back and we, put all that together. Well, it searches the web and does that for you, but it gets confused at times. It's got a long ways to go. Mark, what's a QR code for what on the email we sent out might help? I'm not sure what I'm lost what some of these are referring to. Vineyards and wine tasting. Well, Carl says, Carl, that's reassuring to hear that. Oh, we've got people on RV Travel that have been with us for 20 years. 20 years they've been reading our newsletter, the RV Travel newsletter, and we've added others. Some have come and gone. Janice, Janice, I recognize you from the Wednesday night, don't I? Don't you watch the Wednesday night show? Or Wednesday afternoon, evening? Anyway, you got to get back to work. Well, have fun. Hope you like your work. I like mine. I like doing what I do, but I'll tell you, it's a curse because you can work 24 hours a day and there's always something more to do, like sit here and talk to you. Well, I feel like I should stay on here if anybody wants to show up, but we're not getting. I think I'm going to do these every Saturday morning, and I'm going to have guests, and we're going to talk about lifestyle stuff. And we'll announce the topic ahead of time. I don't see why not. It's so simple anymore to do these. And any, we can have 9 different people participate at a time in our what's called our studio, which means if I invite you to come on, you can sit in the background, and then if you got something to say, we can bring you up on camera. There's only 8 people on now. Yeah, I think maybe I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this up. If you don't have any more questions, And thank you for being curious enough to show up. And do watch our what's our here we go. Oh, it's just all so confusing. This is our talking tech talking RV tech thing on Wednesdays at 4 o'clock Pacific time. And we always give away a prize, and yeah, so fun. 7 people. All right, everybody, listen, I'm going to get out of here. That's I got a few things to do today, and wish I were on the road, but we may have to wait for our new RV to do that. Oh, 2 more comments. Let's see. No, I'm not going to Quartzsite this year, David. We don't actually have anybody going down there. We have some of our writers, I think, will be there, but nothing formal. Well, I'll be back next year. We were going to go this year, but then we decided to sell the RV and we canceled our plans. But it's really worth going to if anybody's in Southern California or over in the Phoenix area or something. Go over for the day. It's really fun, and you're either going to love the place or it's going to drive you crazy. But if you're a people watcher, it's so much fun. Oh gosh, I just have been too overwhelmed here with graphics. Okay, everybody, I'm going to go. If anybody wants to stay on and talk, I mean, I'm okay, but just tell me and ask me a question. I don't really need to go, but I will. So, okay, I'm going to go, and thank you all for coming. It's fun. I go from David about Quartzsite. It's fun. I go from Tucson and hang out with a whole food group. Well, that sounds fun. Hope you guys have some good food out there. A lot of groups get together and just go out there and park out in the middle of nowhere and just circle the wagons like the old pioneers did. And I've done it a couple times. It's really fun, just sitting outside at night, big campfire. And of course, the desert, for those of us that love the desert, it's magical. For some people, it's boring, but I think it's just wonderful. Sunsets down in Quartzsite and all of Arizona are just stunning at times. All right, we'll come back next Saturday if you find out I'm going to be here, and bring some questions. They really help me to not sit here and just ramble about. I mean, I can ramble about all kinds of things, but hopefully I have a guest in the future. And if you got any ideas, email me, chuck@rvtravel.com. And if you haven't chipped in a little bit, go to our rvtravel.com. Where is it here? There it is. If you haven't voluntarily subscribed, we'll send you our other newsletter, which doesn't have any ads in it. Then I would appreciate that, but not necessary. Okay, I better get out of here. All right. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Have a great day. Drive safe. Be healthy. And tell all your friends about us. That really helps. Okay. Bye.